Hello and welcome. Today we're just going to be working on something that I've been working on for a while now. Well, not too long. I guess like a couple days. Let me get rid of some of these debugs. Yeah, so I've just been playing around. I think this is a great showcase of like what bevy can do in terms of functionality. Not necessarily the way it's sort of all put together yet, but I do have plans on cleaning this up a lot more. But yeah, so here we have animated character who can jump around, and we have proper physics. What you would expect in a platforming game. Obviously not everything is implemented yet. Like, I would like to do some sort of wall slide. That would be pretty cool. This ladder is way too large for our player character, so I gotta scale some of this stuff down. Also, there's no like actual ladder controls. You can't climb ladders yet. But yeah, we can certainly try to get some of that done today. So I just want to go through and clean a lot of this up. I also want to see if I can somehow fix these errors. It's not a compile time error. It's more so just a Rust analyzer error, where Rust analyzer doesn't know what to do with const generics, it seems like. So it just errors on them, which is strange. Like for example, this here, it says expect one argument found. Two, new here takes actually quite a few different arguments depending on what you pass in, but the actual typing doesn't know that. It's like a macro of some kind. So there might be little that I can do to actually fix that. I'm using Parry 2D for the collision detection, which really is just like allows you to create shapes and then you can cast rays and stuff. That's all I'm using it for. So one of the issues that I don't one of the things I particularly don't like about it though is that it kind of forces you to use these types that come from an algebra, like this point, for example, this vector 2, for example, here. And they just don't make a lot of sense to me in terms of typing from a game dev perspective, right? Like we have points in some places, point twos in some places, we have vector twos in other places. This function takes both a vector 2 and a point. Why? That makes no sense to me. Just make those both a vector 2. And then it's just more stuff like that. Like, let's see, where was the other thing? Most of this is all good. There was one creating the actual shapes. Yes. This is a bit butchered right now, but it does work. So when you create a shape, you have to create isometry 2, which is like a vector 2, right? But it also has possibly rotation stuff in it. So, I mean, on one hand, that's nice because you can rotate your shapes and things. But on the other hand, it's just completely kind of this odd sort of out of. I mean, I've never seen another library that has a type like this, like a vector math library that has a type like this. So it's just strange to me, foreign, and it makes me not like it. Uh, and the fact that there's so many different types for like a vector 2 here, it's a bit frustrating, to be honest. I think I would much rather prefer if, for example, I could pass in to this compound new and into isometry, which would take a vector 2 as a possible um, thing that it could take, which would get turned into this right here, right? Essentially this isometry 2 translation. So it's just strange and like weird how the types work. And it almost makes me want to sort of clone Perry 2D and rewrite it to use Bevy's typing, vector math typings. Part of me wants to do that, but it just seems like it's not worth it to sort of undergo that sort of change. Like in a lot of places, it just wouldn't work either, because this cuboid shape here is technically, well, I guess it uses dim 2 or dim 3 to change how it behaves. I was gonna say some of these actually just take like sort of a unknown sized object, right? Like you can use isometry 2 here, but I think you can use an isometry 3 as well if you wanted to for whatever reason. And that would be acceptable to this function, which is strange, but part of the generic nature of an algebra. So a rewrite of sort of the collision library there of Perry 2D to use bevy types. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. It would be hard to sort of move over the types to have things be sort of correct. But yeah, that's it's just a sort of a frustration too, because I have to convert bevy types into an algebra types and then back. So that part's a little frustrating, but I try to do my best to get that done. All right, so I think what I want to do next is stop complaining about all this stuff and just get back to sort of the code of it. So I am using Bevy Polyline, which I have to say is quite an amazing library for debugging purposes. Also for just in general drawing lines, it seems to be very well made. And so here you can see sort of these rays that get cast. I know they look really long, and it's slightly confusing why they're so long. But there is a reason for that. It's just sort of for debugging purposes. It's not only a sort of a, how do you put it? A it includes the velocity in the ray, so that you can sort of see what's going on a little bit better. I am using Bevy ECS tile map as well, which is cool. So, and actually, there's a new feature for Bevy ECS tile map, the load LDTK maps in. So here you can see that. And one of the cool things is like, you know, okay, that's where the player starts and they drop down, but I can also like move it around, save, rerun, and now we're in a completely different spot. Apparently that spawns us inside of a wall for some reason though. physics aren't perfect yet. There's definitely some bugs here and there. I think it has to do with when sort of we first loaded, it does like, it seems like it runs faster than what it should for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why. But yeah, so there, now everything's fine. But essentially it runs so fast that like, because it's not continuous collision detection, you sort of land inside of the cuboid here, right? And when that happens, then you sort of become stuck inside of the cuboid, which is kind of funny. And in some ways it's funny. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. You can drag this around, change the player start. And then I just used a simple entity for that, which was pretty cool, pretty easy to do. But yeah, so everything's kind of in this one massive system right now, and I want to go through and sort of pull some of that out and to their own sort of things. In case you didn't realize, I'm using Brachy's, not Brachy's, sorry. Let's see here, Sebastian's 2D platforming tutorial, sort of just following along with that. So if you see a lot of similarities, it's because it's essentially a port of that over into bevy. Let's see here, if we add F32 here, we can do this, and we can do this. There we go. Yeah, so right now I'm just going and adding this gravity resource struct, which just sort of tells the character controller like some things about gravity. And at some point I'll probably split out the jump stuff from the gravity stuff, but in some ways it's very tied together. So we might make this an actual component instead of a resource in the future. They're just like sort of the default values for everything. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. And then we can implement default on this as well. But I want to do it separately. Because default's basically just going to be gravity resource new. For now anyways. Again, like I said, this might change where we actually pass in sort of these parameters here. Maybe some of the other ones. And then this becomes a component rather than a resource. In fact, I think we are going to change this to a component right now because I think it makes more sense to have it as a component. Yeah, and then we can just, similarly to how we insert it, we could do that. That gives us a nice sort of field. And then we need to update gravity in here as well. So just writing a basic basic query here to update gravity. And we'll want to, well, just guess we don't need mutable there, but we do need the mutable on the velocity. And then use bevy. And now we have sort of this basic query, gravity and mute velocity. That to be iterable mute, and this to be n. And we can go to the character controller and sort of take out this gravity stuff here. Yeah. And then we'll need time as a resource as well. Okay, so that's our basic sort of gravity. Let's rename this though to value. Oops. What's this top left position used for? Translating that. I think I'll keep that for now. Velocity x equals. Yes. So a lot of this can go into our player update system, which I kind of have a little bit here, because I did start to separate this out, and then I realized quickly that it wasn't going to work like how I wanted it to. But yeah, so we will also need our jump velocity, which comes from gravity. And then we can get rid of that with gravity there. And we need the sprite information so that we can take care of that, which is good because I think we can just pull it directly out of here. Won't need it there anymore. We'll just throw it on the end here. And then jump velocity comes from gravity. All right. Rid of the sprite here. And we did need offset there. Strange, I thought we didn't need offset anymore. It's fine, we can copy it from up here. I do want to make that an actual parameter to the character controller, but for now this is fine. So now this specifically becomes related only to the updating of the collisions and actually moving the character, which makes this much smaller here in terms of code. That mutable. Yeah, these errors here are so irritating because I don't know if there's actually an error in this file or if it's just Rust Analyzer not understanding the stuff there. But yeah, it's just like it's frustrating. It's alright. We will work around it. Yeah, so this is just a simple keep track of the player camera code. Alright, so here we have to sort of update some of this stuff here. We want gravity update system. Alright, so first the movement needs to happen, which I really should rename to input. Let's do that. Player input. And we'll label this one gravity update. And that has to come after our player input. And then finally, the character controller comes after. Do I need? Do I do two afters, or can I pass in an array of values to after? Let's see. That doesn't help very much. Let's try it. And you know what? We could just say after gravity update because gravity update waits for player input, so it's already chained together. All right. I want to start fixing some of these issues as well. Let's keep scale in for right now. Okay, so we broke something, but we weren't able to see what. I have a feeling that our character is moving up in the world. Oh, okay, it does work right. Just we have some wonkiness when it first starts where there's that brief, like, momentary glitch and like sort of lag spike. I'm not sure what causes that, but maybe we can wait a little bit better. I think what's happening is we finished with the loading, like the first part of loading, and then we call this startup system, which actually is kind of costly in terms of it needs to calculate the cuboids for all of the tiles, and then it also needs to create all these different entities. Find the player entity inside of the map, the LDTK map, like the player start, and so forth. I think that is causing sort of this momentary like a glitch when it first happens. Even though everything's loaded, it's just like it's a heavy like system there. And I think we can fix that by adding some additional state. So I think if we have like a level load, and then here we actually get to play. And then the actual main system here will update the state as well. So that way we're not trying to run any game code. Let's see, we use game state like that. No, we don't use time here. Should we use time here though? We probably should on these velocity changes on the x-axis. Okay, so that broke something pretty big. Because loading takes us to play right now. So we have to fix that. There we go. Well, that was better, but still seems like we glitched through the floor. Yeah. I will have to fix that. But in the meantime, it's not a big enough issue where I want to spend a lot of time on it right now. I think I'd rather fix this ladder first to be more proportionate to our player size. Speaking of player, here he is, and show you some of the animations here. So here's just the idle animation. It's kind of terrible. I am not an artist, so you'll have to excuse the art. And then here's that running animation sort of created. But it's very like not organic. There needs to be like more joints when the character runs. Like the knee should lift up and then come down, right? Like it's a bit too static, if you will. But yeah. So if we just copy this guy here, let's make sure we copy him at frame 0, and I open up those tiles, we can adjust the tile map here for the ladders so that it's smaller. The way I'm going to do that is by That's weird. If I paste this in, it just overwrites the whole layer. New layer. There we go. So if we imagine our character here is going to be like sort of riding on this ladder. I take this ladder and I scale it so it's proportional to him. See, that fits his size a little better. In fact, though, I think we want to go up one more. Something like right there looks good, I think. And then we'll just fix the ladder in terms of how it looks. But before we do that, I would like to copy and paste it so that we have a new ladder. And we'll put the new ladder like sort of over here. Yeah, that looks like a really good size there. Let's just move it up a little bit. Okay. And so I just kind of want to fix some of the issues here with how the ladder looks, so it matches sort of the original look. And I think we can do that by scaling this better. Like if we keep this overall shape but collapse the sides a little bit more, then I think it's going to look a little better if we did something more like this. I think that looks a little bit better. And then here you can kind of see it sort of did that already for us, but I kind of want to keep more of this sort of look here. So I think that's good. And then this one's kind of broken, but I really like sort of this color pattern here with these 4 pixels. So I think what I'm going to do is copy those over. And we can just sort of overlap it here and maybe scale it. Oops. There we go. Wish I could see it without it like moving, but stuff to do. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think this pixel right here should get removed though and drop down. Eraser, there we go, something like that. And we can kind of see in our preview over here what that's gonna look like. Yeah, and then the only other ladder issue I see is sort of this one here. And I think what we want to do is cut out this pixel. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. Alright, so if we go back here, look at our layers, we have the ladder here. So it's too big of a sprite now. I wonder how big it is here. Let's see. You just use the size tool. 11 by, let's see how many. You know, we had how many sprites over here before? We had 1, 2, 3 there. So by that same calculation. Fortunately, I don't think it's 8 by 8. Well, I know it's not 8 by 8. It's 11 by 29. 29 divided by 3. 9.6. So like it's like a really sort of odd sized tile, but I don't think that matters. Hopefully, anyways. So this is kind of an issue where we only have like static grid sizes, right? Like I can't have like a weirdly shaped grid. I think that's a mistake in terms of LDTK, because I know tiled you can have oddly shaped grids. So I think what we're gonna do for this particular issue is we're going to have this be the tile. And then we'll add some pixels down here for sort of the end of the ladder, the bottom of the ladder, right? So at least it covers like a full sort of size. Yeah, let's do that. So if we drop the pixels down all the way, that will be pretty good. Let's use this color and this one. Now we can get like some of this lighter color in here too. I think that'd look good. And then maybe sort of like, let's see, sort of ends on like a darker note here. Like that. Just drop that all the way down. Kind of seems like to me like that black line disappears. But I do see it here too. So we're gonna keep it. And move him out of the way so he's not in our way. But this is just like a reference so that we make sure we're scaling things sort of proportionately to our character model, character sprite. So now if we come back in here and we select this ladder, we can sort of replace it here. And then if we want, we can like replace some of the broken sections so it's not so broken. And now when we go back into our game, wrong thing, close that. We can see that smaller ladder, which definitely feels like that fits the player character a lot better. Yeah, and like how that looks, that's really, really slick. So yeah, you can see another feature here where you actually don't fall off. It's like pixel perfect though, so like that ray on the left there is still like hitting the ground technically, even though our feet aren't. So we can do some things to fix that. One option is to actually place where the rays are coming from, based off of where the character's feet are. So you sort of place them between sort of like this side here and this side here. And that way, even if you like are like this, you're gonna fall off. You should add a reset button that resets you back to where you started. But I guess it's not needed. Okay, well, yeah, I think that's a bit better now that our gravity and our velocity, our player stuff is sort of pulled out. The input movement. Like everything's much more separated. I think I'm just gonna clean up this old code because I don't really need it here. And then I think we definitely are going to do this. Times time dot delta seconds. It's probably going to be like blazingly slow now or blazingly fast. We'll see. Yeah, it's super slow. Like you can see we're moving at like a snail's pace. So we can fix that probably just by increasing our speed here to like something like 10. Still way too slow. So we'll just keep increasing it till it feels more natural. Let's do 25 and drop the 0.5. Yeah, even that feels really slow still. So I think 50 maybe. I'm just gonna keep like doubling it until it feels more natural. And it's like almost 100% of the time that we fall through that floor. It's slightly irritating. There we go, that feels better. Wish we also had some animations for running. That'd be better than sort of this static thing, but we don't really need it to make the game. Animations are just like sort of sugar on top. So I think next I just kind of want to play around with being able to push blocks around. So certain tiles on the map will have special attributes. So for example, this block right here, you'll be able to push. This one you won't because it's too thick of a block. Like you can only push blocks when they're there's nothing behind them, right? So it's kind of the plan. And only some tiles you can push, like these ones, for example, are pushable, but like obviously ladders aren't pushable, and like the ground sort of platform tiles that I have aren't pushable, and those background tiles, obviously, again, not pushable. But yeah, I think it would be fun because then we can do like, eventually we can do like some lighting effects, and I think it would be really cool to have like shadows here, where you can only see sort of where your player sees. So like stuff all on this side of the wall is just going to be sort of dark and black. Um, and like same with like you're only going to be able to see like this stuff here, right? It's going to be like something like that. Like there will be a light source coming from the player. In which case, like you maybe you don't know that you can push this tile here, right? Because you can't see what's behind it. So it's sort of like a secret area. It's pretty cool. But yeah, with the whole level illuminated, it's pretty easy to sort of tell which tiles are pushable and which aren't. But yeah, to do that, we will have to probably fork bevy ECS tile map to create our own shader for it, I think. Or, well, we probably don't need the fork. We can just change the chunk pipelines. I should make an easier way of doing that though. Perhaps we'll just make that a feature of bevy ECS tile map, where we can pass in like a shader, a pipeline, to use instead of the default one. The only problem is with that is that you'll need a pipeline per tile map type unless you don't care, right? And then you can just panic for ones that you don't care to support. But yeah. Yeah, one thing that's kind of odd is this first ray that's shooting down right there sort of is so much longer than the rest. I'm not sure exactly why. It might have something to do with why we fall through the floor at first too, because that ray check might be twice as long as some of the other ones. And it sort of accumulates when the game first starts, right? Because the velocity, your velocity y is increasing when you go down, like when gravity pulls you down. And so the ray sort of, it doesn't increase like in length, but for debugging purposes it sort of does. And then when you hit the ground, that velocity basically gets terminated. And it continues to get terminated. So like, for example, if gravity is pulling you down by 5 pixels, right? And you hit something underneath you, it essentially like removes that velocity. It doesn't set it to 0. It like does like a negative switch. I don't know how to best describe it, but it basically calculates like the opposite of it. The opposite velocity, which like makes it so that you stop. But anyways, yeah, I think I just want to play around with LDTK a little bit more and expand on this level that I have. Let's use this block. Sort of come from over here. Oops. Let's get some variation in there. I can kind of do this. Looks not too bad. Make a little platforming puzzle, jumpy puzzle bit here. And then we could put some like background stuff here too, but I kind of want to do something like this. Oh, we did all that in ladders. Darn it. Ugh. That sucks. See, now this is... Okay, like, for example... Can we drag and drop somehow? Like, select? No, I can't. But, yeah, essentially, since we did that in ladders, right? Like... that's kind of a bummer, because now we have to, like, somehow pull all these tiles out into map. But it's not easy to do that. At least I haven't figured out how to yet. Tile stacking on. Don't want that on. Select empty spaces. Single layer mode on. That's helpful. Like I want to be able to drag and select sort of like I did there and then copy and paste the tiles over to map. But I don't know if that's possible.
New, by the way, if you're interested, since I covered and
Mute it. Let's see. Show me. They're showing like the auto tiling, which is pretty cool too. But and paste tiles. Dear. Layers. How to use them. Open the tile sets. Hold to left click. Shift click to draw a rectangle. Shift and a single click to fill the area. How do I select? Using the tile picker. Stamp and random modes. So if I shift click, does this select? Oh my goodness, no. It just deletes them all. What about like, oh. So if I do this, it fills, yeah, I see. Yeah, so I can do something like this. And if I want to, I can do something like random mode and then, yeah, that's cool. Alright, well, I guess we're just gonna erase and try not to mess up in the future. So, let's just clear all these tiles. There we go. Use this one. I think that looks good. 1, 2. We'll just replace it. Okay. So I should be able to fill by doing something like this. Yeah, I like that. And then we could even do like random. Well, not really, because you can't do like, yeah, it's just gonna randomize like that, which is gonna look really bad. Okay, well, that's okay. And then we could do something like this though, where we select all those random mode and then like fill in like this weird looks terrible. But yeah, let's get some more platforms up here. Jump around on. Some possible jump there. And we'll put a little face there. Okay, just as a little bit more of a playground. And then let's do some more background tile stuff just for fun. I want to move this down actually. There we go. I can't jump that high. No. So yeah, so we got some work to do there. Or maybe that's the case for a double jump? Question mark? Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah. Jump height, not enough. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to sort of build out levels. I wish this did have a sort of, like I said, like a copy paste for tiles, like where you could select tiles and then copy and paste them outside of this, like tiles that are on the map, but it doesn't seem to allow you to do that. Let's look at the cheat sheet though. Like layers 1 through 9. That's a handy shortcut. You can select all. What does that do? Apparently nothing. Oh. Apparently it literally selects all and makes things crash, so at least it no longer appears to be functioning. Okay, well that worked, but I don't think you want to ever do that. How do I unselect? Interesting. Okay. Select all the elements in a rectangle area. Oh, okay, so Shift Alt. Okay, so if we do something like that moves them, but if we want to copy them, we can. Nope. How do we copy them once we have them? I assume Control C, Control V, but that doesn't work. Save current tile selection. Duplicate all selected elements. Control Alt click. So if we do Control Alt click. That didn't work. Control Alt right click. No. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't work for some reason. We could try saving and then reloading a tile selection. Let's see. We select. We could move it, but that's not very helpful. Not exactly what I want to do. S to save. How do I copy? I'm trying different like dragging techniques here, but nothing's working. Well, it's okay. I don't need to know right now. Sure, I'll figure it out eventually. Okay. So I guess next we just want to continue sort of expanding upon our character controller and go through all this. I think let's see. These are the tutorials I've been following. So essentially we're up to here jumping. Climbing slopes, I don't really care about those because everything's blocky in our world. Don't have slopes right now. That could change, but I don't feel like I need slopes yet, so I'm not going to add that code. Moving platform though, that would be really cool to add as an example. Platform waypoint system, that's easy enough to do. I can do that without looking at the tutorial. Wall jumping, that one would be really cool. Variable jump height, camera follow, we already did. Refactoring ray spacing. Would be interesting to see what sort of refactoring he did there. Max slopes, also interesting. So if the slope is too steep, you can't climb up it. You'll slide down. So some choices there as to what we can sort of implement. There's also, if you go to the closed issues here, somebody made their own fork of it. And there's more stuff in here. All sorts of different things related to like climbing ladders, all sorts of things like that. And I've done that before in the past as well, sort of following along with this code. So, but the idea behind climbing ladders is you just detect let's see here. If you just detect sort of where the character is, and so you make ladders like sort of things that they can collide in, right? So you can stand on top of ladders. But when you sort of like attach the player to the ladder, and then like so if they're on the ground here, they can move around. But if they hit up here, right, then you attach them to the ladder, and they can still move left and right, but their y velocity basically stays 0. Gravity doesn't affect them when they're climbing ladders. And that's basically all there is to it. When they're attached to the ladder, i.e. when they're colliding with the ladder, then you turn off gravity essentially. And when they hit up, like the up arrow, they climb up it, and when they hit the down arrow, they climb down it. So ladders are pretty simple. Yeah, double jump would be interesting to do because I actually don't know how that would work. I guess if you hit jump again in the air, and you haven't hit jump twice, then you like let the player sort of do another hop in the air. That's my guess behind how it works, and we could try implementing something like that real quick. So let's see here. We probably want to put like, I don't think this is the best place to store it, but has jumped twice. We're just gonna store it there for right now because it's easy and we already have it sort of there. And we'll make gravity mutable so that we can say like and or rather this whole part here should be a or gravity dot has jumped twice, not has jumped twice. Is that gonna work though? How do we know that it's the second jump and not the first one? I think we should change that to jump count. Because I think that's just going to be more easier to sort of reason about. Make it small. Doesn't have to be big. Okay, and then the jump count. Let's see here. Jump count less than 2. Jump count. And then when you actually collide with the ground, your jump count will be restored back to 0. Oh, not self. Gravity. Yeah, jump count maybe should be stored on the character controller. I don't know. Doesn't seem to work so far, but I think we want to change that to be 3. Possibly. Oh, and you know what? It's gonna have to be like plus equals here because we have to add the velocity. We can't just like make it. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. And our velocity is gonna be way too high, but yeah, we can fix that. If we just decrease the time it takes to get to the apex, it should help there. Oh, that's way too high. In fact, I can clip through. Let's restore what we had before. I think I have a better idea. If we check to see if it's equal to 0, so it's your first jump, we set the velocity. Else, I think it's important that you set that initial velocity to something. Then we probably want it to be plus equals, I think. This might let us triple jump, but that's fine. Okay, and then the other issue is that, in fact, it's letting us infinite jump because of this. We actually want if character controller collision info below jump count equals 0. So only if you have a collision below you should that reset. And then I think pressed likely needs to be changed as well. because it's just like, are you pressing the key? And that might even just let us like, it's just letting us jump higher, right? It's not actually like affecting like it's not like a double jump. So we need to like, let's see, just pressed perhaps? I'm not super familiar with bevies. Check if input has been just pressed. So I think that's like, it only runs once, even if you hold it down, right? Which I think is important here. Yeah, in fact, that's way better. So there we go. That's like the double jump there. Ooh, that last one's kind of hard to get. So double jump. So the second jump's like way too weak. So let's just increase it, make it stronger, maybe even. I don't know if there's 3 jumps. Maybe. We could just try it. That's better feeling. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's 3 jumps. 1, 2, 3. Which is how I think I'm getting up there. So let's reduce that to 2, and then maybe even increase this by 2. I know. Since the plus equal seems to be like a little bit less of a jump than like skyrocketing your velocity like up to that certain number. Although plus 2, that seems like it might be too much. Yeah, look at how high your second jump is. So let's drop that back down. But yeah, this is kind of how you do, just like you play around with the platform physics until they get to a place where it feels good. And then, yeah, see, I messed up there, but let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So it seems like if you're falling down, you get less of a jump. Because it doesn't actually set like your so I think instead of like jump count, this should be determined by your velocity direction, right? Like, so like if your velocity y is greater than 0, actually, sorry, less than 0, then you'll want to do the plus, or not the plus, right? You want to like set it to whatever. Let's see how that feels. So essentially when you're like falling, like right now you're falling, right? You're just instantly colliding with the ground. Yeah, that feels way better for a double jump. Yeah, I do like that. It feels really good. Just seeing if I can like wall climb somehow here. It doesn't seem like it's letting me do that, which is good. I want wall slide, not wall climb. So essentially, like if you're colliding with something on the left side and you have that, if you're colliding with something to the left of you or to the right of you, but essentially the gravity like slows down, is what you do. I think it's how you want to implement it. Wow, if you double jump really quick, it like slingshots you. It's kind of funny. You can almost jump higher that way. Well, you can actually jump higher than that way. I find that funny, but yeah, not important. But yeah, that's feeling pretty good. I think the left and right speeds are a little slow, which is making it feel a little clunky. I do have sprite flipping turned on too, so if you notice like your sprite's facing the left, now it's facing the right, depending on which direction you're traveling. So that was easy enough to do in Bevy. So I think our plus equals here is a little bit too strong, so I want to just times it by 0.85 maybe. And so just like reducing it like just a little bit. Um, so now if I do a quick jump, it's not, yeah, it's not as high. In fact, can I even jump that? No, I don't think I can. Oh, I can. Okay, so if I delay the jump, which is actually a strategy when you're playing some platformers. So if you delay the jump, you can actually get up there, which is cool. So like if you delay your jump, you can actually go like longer distances when you're jumping. Instead of jumping like right away if you delay it a little bit. Mario does that a lot. I think even some games like Celeste do that where it's like a like time your second jump so that you can sort of make it. Celeste has like the whole thing where you can pick up extra jumps too, which is something that we could definitely do. But I don't think it's really the type of game I'm trying to create here. Even like double jump is a little wonky for this game. But it's kind of fun to play around with and experiment though. The rays are really strange up here. I think because like now you're like in the negative world space, right? So like things are different up here. And so the rays are actually traveling in the wrong direction. Like because of where your character is positioned, if that makes sense at all. Because like here, from here up is like positive, and from here down is negative or something, right? So like, whereas like if it's like most other game engines, like here is negative, like going up is negative, and then here down is positive. Like so it's like 0. Like if this is like 0 here, right? This would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. But for us, it's actually 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. Or maybe I'm thinking of the opposite. It might be the opposite. I can never remember with Bevy. But yeah. All right, so real quick, I want to go check out Bevy ECS tile map. Somebody posted a new issue or pull request, I think, and it sounds like it's decent. Default features equals true. Don't include default features when used as a dependency. This looks good, but can you update the description to explain why this is useful? I think I know why, but I think it would be good to have documented here. Cool. It's exciting to see new PRs and the stuff, the code bases that I work on. But yeah, what to do next? I don't know. There's so many things I want to do. I think I want to try to clean some of this up some more. But yeah, you can basically, if you look at like uh, Sebastian's code, a lot of this is very similar. Basically the same thing. I had to change a lot of things because like of bevy's coordinate system, right? And then sort of how um, Perry 2D works made me change a lot of things as well. But most of it's the same. Much white space there. Let's clean that up. Ray spacing doesn't have to get calculated every frame. That would be a useful thing to not do, even though it's not that expensive. Like some of the stuff like this should just be a part of AABB naturally. Like I shouldn't have to write my own function for this. It really, it almost makes me want to create my own collision library. Except I know like in order to get it to like work fast, like there's like this level collider uses like it's like a compound, and if you look at it, like it uses like a QBVH, which I think is like some sort of BVH with like a quad tree. I don't know, that data structure is not even something I'm super familiar with. A bounding volume hierarchy that's quaternary. Kind of sounds like a quad tree. Like a quad bounding volume hierarchy. Quaternary is, that's quad, quarters. But yeah, and it uses AABB. Like bounding boxes, it uses those to sort of work through. Yeah, I don't know much about this sort of data structure. And this uses like SMID to SIMD to increase the speed, like the CPU stuff. So I don't know. It's a good library. I just wish the math typing wasn't so weird. I want something that like just fits into bevy more in terms of collision. Um, and I really hope that that's something that bevy rapier, if I'm saying that right, um, is something that tries to do better at. And maybe even Perry 2D here could use like a feature flag for turning on bevy. Maybe it has that and I'm just blind. I didn't actually look. The cargo. Yeah, there's no feature for that. Still, I think it would be really useful. Let's see here. Dim2, yeah. I think it would be really hard for the way that it's built. I think it would be difficult to do that as a feature, right? Because like there's a certain level of generics here. Like for example, like it takes real here, which can be like either F32 or F64, and bevy just doesn't have that. It just has like F32s everywhere, which is fine on one hand. But like it creates like a point here, and that point is like it's like a vec1, right? It's just like a F32, but then it's put in this weird point shape thing here. I don't know. It would be very difficult to You'd have to just basically kind of rewrite the whole thing. And I don't think that's worth it. You might as well just write your own, which I think some people are doing. Like, isn't that sort of the point of um, Alright, looks like we got a response back. There we go. I guess that's the explanation right there. So, merge pull request, confirm. Cool. Like that. And then let's see, more mentions, showcase discussion. You built your own pod. Yes, I have. So I want to check out main pull, check out bevy track, pull, merge main into bevy track. Of course, there's conflicts. So we just copy this over into here. And then we have a dev dependency that's different with the default features turned on. And that would look like this. And then just run things to make sure it looks right. I keep bevy track up to date with bevy's main. That way you can use bevy main with my tile map library. I think that's useful. Cool, that worked. And I'll just add that and push it. Oh, commit first. Oh, push. There we go. Yeah, it's a bit irritating to do that because then I gotta merge a lot of stuff into bevy track, but it'll be really simple in the future when I have to update to the latest bevy if I sort of keep track of all the changes that are happening, because there are a lot. Less work, or work spread out over time, is better than a massive lump of work later on. That's the way I look at it. Although I'm gonna have a massive lump as soon as let's see, as soon as this particular PR gets merged. Which one is it? I don't see it now. Oh, right. I think it's because it's a I think it's because he has a fork of it himself. Or their self, sorry. Yeah. I don't know actually where the code for that is. There's a discussion somewhere about the new bevy pipeline stuff. And I don't see it like in the recent log here. Oh, here it is. It's right in front of my face. Okay. Code is available here. Yeah, he has a fork. They have a fork. Ah, sorry. I am still attempting to change my childhood brainwashing. It is not easy. In any case, yeah. So, what's the best way to show how this works now? I guess just if you look at Sprite, probably bevy Sprite too. The render stuff, yeah. So a lot of the layout stuff is kind of the same. It's a little different though. Like you don't actually need this weird sort of. You can just build layouts in code, right? You don't have to have like some sort of static constant variable for pipelines anymore, which is nice. And then there's like prepare, queue, and then there's like updates and drawing and stuff like that. So it's a bit different in how it works, but like the tile map stuff is gonna have to all get updated to that sort of format once this gets solidified. Anyways, let us get back to creating some game stuff. I've got like about another 30 minutes here, maybe 45 minutes, and then I gotta go. Going to the zoo with the family today, so it should be fun. What to do next? Let's see here. I think I want to play around with. I don't know. It's a good question what to do next. We essentially have sort of like a game right now. We need some treasure that we can pick up, right? I think that's a good place to sort of work next. And I'd like to also be able to more easily turn on and off sort of the raycast debug mode. In fact, let me change that particular raycast right now to not include the velocity. There we go. That was mostly for debug purposes, and I don't think we really need to view that anymore. Now that it's working, right? It's not as important to see the velocity. We can just view the rays directly. Well, they still are very long. That's because direction here, no, that should be not that long. I think I just need to do origin, direction. I think the direction already includes the origin, maybe? Do I already calculate that here? No. But something in this code isn't exactly right. In fact, maybe it should just be this. There we go. Oh, the rays are in the wrong direction though. They're facing the wrong way. That's easy enough to fix though. That's just because, again, I'm not jump up here? I can't. Interesting. It's too high. Okay, yeah, so those rays are like, they're in the wrong direction for up and down. And also they're kind of offset incorrectly a little bit. A little bit? Maybe. Actually, no. They're good. That's what they should look like, because it does include the velocity on the X um, when calculating like your bottom rays. But I don't think this actually includes that. We should do that. Plus velocity dot X. That should fix that issue. Dot 0 dot X. Yeah, so that'll include the velocity for the box that moves as well. Because the sprite kind of doesn't represent where the character is going to be, right? The sprite that renders is where the character is currently at. So it's like there's like a little bit of a difference between that and the actual. Yeah, see, that's a little bit better. I think we're missing the skin width on the box, possibly. Yeah, it's not including the skin width. So if we times it by the skin width, what do we do up here for that? We expand it. We should probably do something similar here. Box. Character controller. And then character controller skin width. That should be better. Yeah, a little bit. I think it's still wrong. A little bit though. But you can kind of see how the debug lines work a little bit better now. Yeah. So that looks right there. Up and down though, it's definitely an issue. And it seems like on the right side is, well, kind of, not really though. That seems right. Yeah. Oh, you know what? The rays, the debug for the rays on left and right don't include the velocity. I think that's fine. But yeah, I think that's good for right now. But yeah, so in order to turn them on and off, I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. And in order to do that, I think we need to look at the bundle for polyline. Create polyline entities, polyline bundle. Where's the bundle? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I think we can set the visible here to false based off of a key code. But I will be right back. Just give me 1 second. All right, back. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I think we're making some decent progress here. So in order to show it or hide it, I think for right now I'm just gonna comment it out. But I would like to have a button to sort of turn it on and off. But it's not strictly necessary right now. Okay, so treasure. Guess the first thing I need to do is find like a nice sprite. Games, game assets. Then we want free, because I don't have money. No, I do. I just don't have money for that kind of stuff right now. RPG items and icons. This is pretty cool. Potions and stuff like that. There's a lot of items here. Holy smokes. Do they have like gold, treasure? I don't see anything though. Fantasy icon packs. Uh, oh wow, that's really good animation there. I wonder if they have any more stuff. Just that. I don't know. That's the type of stuff I like though. Like that. It's really cool looking. But I want to kind of find something that matches the art style I got going on. So I'm just gonna keep looking around. Ooh, those gems look nice. Crafting materials. Let's look at those. Not exactly gold coins, but I do like sort of that look there. 104 icons. CC0. Ooh, that's nice. Keep that open. Yeah, This is like a great resource for finding like assets that you want to use. Um, I still create some of my own at times too. It's just I'm not an artist, unfortunately, so it's difficult for me to do that. I really like these pixel art planets. Makes me want to go back to that. I had like this game I was making for a while called Planet Traders. Kind of want to go back to that and do more with it, like with that stuff. That'd be really cool. Insect items, man. There's some like it's just like such a unique variety of assets, right? Like it's a good time to be a game dev. There's just so many options and like it doesn't have to break the bank. Like this is so accessible to people who are younger or who don't have a lot of money. Like most of the money that I have goes to my family and supporting them. And like that's good. I like that. Like that's how it should be. And I do occasionally have some extra income that I can throw at assets and art and stuff like that. I really like the variety and food stuff here. Like these are high quality assets and it's just impressive. I don't know what CCBYSA is though. That's a new one I haven't seen before. Share like. Is there an English version of this? Google, help me out here. Worldwide. Oh, I probably can just remove the RU here, right? Yeah. Share, adapt, no restrictions other than attribution. So you got to credit them. And if you share a new remix or something, you have to share it under the same license as it was before. Huh. I don't need food or anything, but another strategy for finding like good assets is like, oh, hey, these ones are really cool. And then like you click on their thing. Like they got like weapons, overworld stuff. So like that's another strategy. Like you can sort of sometimes find assets that way by sort of like clicking on who they are, right? So let's just scroll back down. We should add some more filters though. 2D. Um, that's probably fine for right now. But yeah, I hope this is educational to people because I feel like some of this stuff is hidden away and not like known. I could be wrong about that though. I don't really know what it's like to be a new game developer. Been doing this for so long, I just kind of know a lot of stuff. Perhaps this is more accessible than I realize. There's some gold there, but it doesn't really match the look we're going for. Heck, let's just try to make our own, right? Like, we're just looking for some gold piles, right? So it should be pretty easy to sort of create something new. And we'll make it 8 by 8, I think would be a good size to sort of work with. And then we need some like good colors, like some like decent colors. I don't know, this yellow might be too bright. If we do something like this, like stacks of money, right? Let's see. And then now we just gotta sort of like stylize it a little bit better. That's like the basic shape of it though. We could make it a little bit more rounded too, like this. But then that's like, I don't know. It's hard to like pixelize this. That's not definitely not the color we want. I want like a gold or like just, it's got to be bright, but it's got to be like slightly different. There we go. That's a good gold color. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just kind of playing around right now. I'm not particularly happy with this. I do like the color choice though here. It's like stacks of money. Like, how would you represent a stack of money? Like, it's just too thin, right? Maybe 8 by 8 is too small. I could do something like this. And then try to like give it some more shading. I need some like example art. That's what would help. Ah, the 8-bit gold stack. See, now that's nice. That's got like a lot of, but again, like that's like a huge sprite. It's not, we could do it like that and then just like scale it down, but I don't think that would look very good. I could be wrong, but I do like this one. It's kind of got like that darker and then even sort of like orange outline. And then you can kind of see like a ring of colors here. Start over. Maybe we can make like a like a 4x4 ring here. Something like this, and then have that go down. And then fill in. But then we need like, I need a color picker for this. Let me just copy it. Just grabbing colors. That's it. Gotta move the color over though. Get this nice darker color here, sort of down the side. And what is the front here? Kind of a different color too. And then like this nice orange at the very bottom. That's okay. We don't have a lot of pixels to work with. That's kind of the issue. So if we do like another one like this, how do we make it the same size? And you know what? We should do something like that maybe. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And then bring that up on the side. And maybe even use like, cause like you're trying to like do some shadowing here, right? Like so the light's coming in like from this way. So put some of the like darker colors over here. That looks a bit like more like a gold stack. And then if you want, you can even do something like copy it and then just scale it. And then if we get clever enough, we can maybe fit another one sort of like here, like this. But also shrink it. Let's see. Hold on. We want to shrink that down. Let's get the eraser out. Oh, we could sort of overlay it a little bit. Like, what if we did that? Like, copy, paste that, put it like right here, and then do something like this. I just gotta go over like a little bit like that though. Wish I had more room, but that's not terrible. I think if we maybe put some spacing here, like if we cut out some of these pixels, um, maybe not this one though. Maybe like this one. Oh, that looks good because you want like that rounded bottom, right? Ooh, yeah. Let's try that. Coin stack. Okay, and then what we can do is inside of our LDTK level editor, we can sort of place these around, and we can even give it, I think, a sprite if we do this right. To add a new one, there's colors. I think you can do, yeah, tile from a specific tile set. So first we got to load in that tile set image in. And we can just bring in a new image. It's coin stack. Okay. And then once we have that tile set, we go back to entities and we call this coins. I really wish you could do lowercase. Maybe this is a place where you just use tags though. Player start. That maybe it'd be better like that with tags. But yeah, okay, so tile from coin stack. Fit inside, fill, and then 16 by 16? Yeah, but I think we want to put the pivot point at the bottom center. So now we can place sort of these coins around. And we can place them throughout the level. Why does it keep going back to background? Oh, you know what? We don't have a transparent background here, do we? That's a problem. It should have been 8 by 8. Let's close that. Yeah, that is the mask. Is it the same here? Yes. Why does it look a little weird though? Let's go take a look at it here. Yeah, it's transparent. Okay, so we'll just place some more. I don't know why it's like forcing me back to the other layer. That seems weird. Yeah, why is it like letting me place them in weird spots too. I think that has to do with the size of it. We should probably change that. Inside cover. Just center it. There's some weird offset there though. Like this. That's a little better, but like still you can kind of like place it in like weird spots and then it doesn't show up. Like it lets you arbitrarily place them, which is like strange. Like it doesn't force it to the grid. Maybe there's a thing for that though. All I see is like pivot point, right? Like it doesn't let you like snap to the grid. What if we make this 8 by 8? See, and they're all like different alignments too. Like it's so weird. Maybe it's the layer too, because the layer has certain requirements. Okay, I think we just have to trust that they're in the right spot, and then from there we can sort of copy and paste them around somehow. How did we duplicate again? I forget how we did that. I don't think we ever figured out how. But we can just try placing these in places that make sense. Okay. Okay, so now that we've tagged player start, let's see if we can pull that in on file. Let's see if we can, instead of using identifier, maybe we can use tag. Pivot tile with, I think we have to look up the tile or something. I gotta look at LDTK's JSON for that. Level, layer instance, entity instance. Here we go. The entity definition UUID. So there must be, yeah, the entity definitions, which then give us the tags. Where do we get tag from? Enum tags. That's weird. So let's look at the file format, because something's not right. Too staticky. That song's always staticky for some reason. Just weird. All right. Oh God, this is so unreadable. How to make JSON more readable. The only way I know how. In JavaScript. Let LDTK equal. Shoot, really? It's not valid JSON? Or did it not copy all of it? No, it looks like it did. Oh, this is why. Use backticks then. Okay, now we can actually drill into it like this. It sometimes pays to be a web developer when you have to work with JSON. Because then you know how to do like stuff like this real quick. So here's entities, and then we can see entity instances. And those point to this define UUID, which is the entity definitions. So defines probably entities. Tags, there we go. So there is a tag, it's in entity definitions. So if we cross-reference that definition here, definition ID, with the entity definitions UID, then that should give us what we need. Okay, so current map dot project dot defines dot entities dot find ed, I guess. I'll just call it ed. That. Cool, no typing. Why? Because you don't like this? I know that's not exactly right, but just trying to pseudocode it out a little bit. Realized I've run out of time, unfortunately, thanks to a handy text from the wife. So sadly, I have to end things here. But you can kind of get the idea of where I was going with it. Using LDTK to load in our data. And displaying that to the user. But displaying that to the player via sprites probably, That's what I would use. And then just simply doing a bounding box collision test to see if you've run into coins. And if you have, then add that gold or score to the player's score, right? But yeah, next time, hopefully I'll have more of this done and I'll show you guys more progress. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you probably tomorrow, since it's a holiday. I have the whole day off. So I'll be sure to stream. Thanks for watching. Bye.